The dawn of civilization. Millions of years ago, long before history was written, the first humans walked this earth. They were wanderers, moving with the seasons, surviving through instinct, and shaping their world with nothing but their hands and their minds. They tamed fire, created tools, and, in time, began to leave their mark, not just on the land, but in the echoes of time itself. Deep in hidden caves, they painted their world. These were not just pictures, they were stories, messages for those who would come after. The first whispers of communication, the earliest traces of human expression. But as time passed, something remarkable happened. No longer just wanderers, humanity learned to harness the land. The great rivers, Nile, Tigris, Euphrates, Indus, became the lifeblood of the first civilizations. They tamed animals, sowed crops, and built towering cities where once there was only wilderness. These were the foundations of everything that followed. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians etched the first known writing, cuneiform, onto clay tablets, preserving knowledge for generations. In Egypt, pharaohs ruled with divine authority, raising colossal pyramids as monuments to eternity. And in the Indus Valley, a civilization flourished with advanced cities, yet shrouded in mystery to this day. As civilization expanded, so did its ambitions. Kings rose to power, empires formed, and the first laws were written in stone. From Hammurabi's code in Babylon to the oracle bones of ancient China, humanity was no longer just surviving. It was building the foundations of history itself. The dawn of civilization was not just the beginning of history. It was the first step toward everything we know today. The first cities, the first laws, the first written words, each a thread in the vast tapestry of human progress. This structure is solid and engaging. Here's a continuation and refinement to enhance the cinematic flow. The rise of empires. 1. The classical world, Greece and Rome. As civilizations flourished, the world witnessed the rise of two great powers, Greece and Rome. Greece, the cradle of democracy, philosophy, and art, laid the foundations of Western thought. Their ideas would shape history for millennia to come. They questioned existence, reason, and governance. Mathematics, astronomy, and medicine flourished under their watch. Their stories, myths, and tragedies still echo in the halls of literature today. But while Greece gave the world ideas, Rome gave it order. From a republic to an empire, Rome mastered governance, law, and engineering. Roads stretched like veins across continents, carrying soldiers, merchants, and ideas. The Colosseum roared with the sounds of gladiatorial combat. Aqueducts carried fresh water to cities, a testament to Roman ingenuity. Rome's power was unmatched. For centuries, it stood as the heart of the known world, until, like all great empires, it began to crumble. 2. The Eastern Empires. But while the West was shaped by Greece and Rome, mighty empires thrived in the East. In Persia, the Achaemenid Empire rose under Cyrus the Great, stretching from Greece to India. With roads and governance that rivaled even Rome's, the Persians built an empire of tolerance and strategy. Persia's rule was not just through conquest, but through diplomacy. Their system of governance and infrastructure would influence empires for centuries. Meanwhile, in India, the Maurya and Gupta empires became centers of knowledge. The concept of zero was born here, along with advancements in medicine, astronomy, and philosophy that would shape the world beyond their borders. From the wisdom of the Vedas to the teachings of the Buddha, India's spiritual and intellectual legacy would ripple through time. And further east, China's dynasties flourished. The Qin unified China, raising the Great Wall as a shield against invaders. The Han expanded trade, sending silk and spices westward along routes that would one day connect the world. Paper, printing, and the compass, innovations that would change the course of history, were born here. While Rome ruled the West, China stood as the titan of the East. The rise of empires defined an era of ambition, conquest, and innovation. But power is never eternal. As one empire rises, another falls, and the cycle of history marches ever forward. This section has a strong structure and cinematic feel. Here's a refined and expanded version with a seamless narrative flow. The Middle Ages and the Age of Exploration. 1. The Medieval World. The fall of Rome marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new age, the Middle Ages. Europe, fractured and chaotic, fell into feudalism. Lords ruled over castles, knights waged war for honor and land, and peasants toiled in the fields under the ever-watchful eyes of their rulers. But this was no mere age of darkness. Beneath the feudal order, ideas continued to simmer. Religion spread its influence, shaping kingdoms and inspiring towering cathedrals that reached for the heavens. Meanwhile, from the north, the Vikings arrived, raiders, traders, and explorers. They struck terror into European hearts, but also forged new connections across the world, from the British Isles to the Byzantine Empire, and even as far as North America. The Islamic world. A golden sunrise over Baghdad, scholars writing under candlelight, the grand house of wisdom bustling with activity. But while Europe was engulfed in conflict, another world flourished. In the heart of the Islamic Golden Age, the House of Wisdom in Baghdad became a sanctuary of knowledge. Here, scholars preserved and translated the works of the Greeks and Romans, ensuring that their wisdom would not be lost to time. Mathematics, medicine, astronomy. The Islamic world advanced science beyond what had ever been imagined. Their discoveries would later fuel the Renaissance and reshape the world's understanding of the universe. The Middle Ages were not just a time of war, but of transformation. As faith clashed with reason, as empires crumbled and rose again, the seeds of the modern world were being planted. 2. The Renaissance and global exploration. Then, from the ashes of the past, a new dawn emerged. The Renaissance, a rebirth of art, science, and knowledge. The rediscovery of ancient wisdom in Europe ignited a revolution in thought, creativity, and innovation. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo brought the human form to life in ways never before seen. Their masterpieces, sculpted and painted, captured the depth of human emotion and the beauty of the natural world. Meanwhile, the Renaissance was not just about art, it was about discovery. Galileo peered into the cosmos, challenging the idea that the Earth was the center of the universe. Copernicus dared to suggest that the Sun, not the Earth, was the true heart of our celestial system. And as minds expanded, so did horizons. The age of exploration had begun. Columbus, Magellan, and others set sail into the unknown, driven by ambition, curiosity, and the search for new trade routes. These journeys would forever change the world, linking the East with the West, exchanging ideas, cultures, and goods in a global network that had never existed before. The Middle Ages had given way to an age of discovery, setting the stage for the revolutions to come. The world was no longer a land of isolated kingdoms and empires. It was becoming one interconnected tapestry, bound by trade, technology, and the thirst for knowledge. This section has a strong foundation. Here's an expanded and immersive version to deepen the storytelling and enhance the cinematic impact. The Industrial Revolution and the Modern Era. 1. The Age of Revolutions. The 18th and 19th centuries ignited a fire that would reshape the world. In the Americas, 13 colonies dared to defy the might of the British Empire, declaring their right to govern themselves. Across the ocean, the people of France, suffocated under the weight of monarchy and inequality, rose up in a revolution drenched in blood and ideals. These revolutions were more than battles. They were declarations of a new world order. The ideals of liberty, democracy, and human rights, once whispered in secret gatherings, now echoed through the streets, inspiring oppressed peoples across the globe. But revolutions do not end with the fall of kings. As Napoleon's empire expanded, so too did the idea that people had the right to rule themselves. Even in his defeat, the seeds of change had been sown, and the world would never be the same. 2. The Industrial Revolution. Then came an even greater transformation, one not fought with muskets and swords, but with steel and steam. The Industrial Revolution. Machines replaced human hands, and invention after invention reshaped the way people lived, worked, and traveled. The steam engine powered an age of factories, railroads, and global trade. The telegraph shrank distances, making the world feel smaller, more connected. Cities swelled with opportunity, and with it, overcrowding, pollution, and a new class of factory workers. But progress came at a cost. The rise of industry meant long hours, child labor, and unsafe conditions for the working class. And as Europe's factories grew, so did their hunger for resources. Colonial powers expanded their reach, exploiting lands and people in Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The Industrial Age was not just an era of invention, it was an era of empire. The race for resources and wealth fueled imperialism, creating deep divisions that would one day lead to global conflict. The world had entered a new era of progress, one that would bring both marvels and horrors. And as the 20th century approached, humanity stood on the edge of its most defining moment yet. Here's an expanded and immersive version of Part 5, The World at War, emphasizing the personal, emotional, and cinematic aspects of history while maintaining clarity and accuracy. The World at War. 1. World War I and the Treaty of Versailles. In 1914, a single bullet changed the course of history. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand ignited a chain reaction, pulling Europe's great powers into war. What should have been a regional conflict spiraled into a global catastrophe, World War I. They called it the Great War, a war unlike anything the world had seen. Men dug into trenches, facing machine guns, poison gas, and relentless artillery fire. Millions perished, their bodies swallowed by the endless mud. For 4 years, the world bled, and when the guns finally fell silent, the world was forever changed. In 1919, the victors sought to ensure peace. The Treaty of Versailles placed the blame squarely on Germany, imposing crushing reparations and stripping it of its territories. But instead of securing peace, it planted the seeds of resentment. The world hoped that this was the war to end all wars. But beneath the surface, new tensions brewed. The wounds of the past had not healed, they had only deepened. World War II. But peace was fleeting. The scars of World War I gave rise to new nightmares. In Germany, economic collapse and political turmoil paved the way for a dictator, Adolf Hitler. Promising to restore Germany's greatness, he built an empire of fear and aggression. World War II had begun. This was not just a war of nations, it was a war of ideologies. Democracy versus fascism, freedom versus tyranny. Hitler's forces stormed through Europe, seizing control of Paris, threatening Britain. In the east, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, drawing the United States into the global conflict. The world was now fully at war. But the greatest horror was yet to come. Hitler's vision of a pure empire led to the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, along with millions of others deemed undesirable. The Holocaust remains one of the darkest chapters in human history. Then came the turning point. In 1944, the Allies launched D-Day, the largest invasion in history. With unyielding determination, they fought their way through France, pushing the Nazis back. The tide of war had shifted. By 1945, the war in Europe was nearing its end. Hitler, defeated and abandoned, took his own life. Germany surrendered. The war in Europe was over. But in the Pacific, the battle was far from over. The United States sought to end the war swiftly. The answer lay in a weapon unlike any other. The world witnessed its first glimpse of nuclear devastation. In an instant, entire cities were obliterated. Thousands perished instantly. Thousands more suffered in the aftermath. World War II left scars that would never fade. Over 70 million lives lost. Cities reduced to rubble. Humanity had seen the depths of its own destruction and the dawn of a new era, where nuclear weapons held the power to end civilization itself. In the aftermath, the world vowed never again. War criminals were held accountable at Nuremberg. The United Nations was formed in hopes of preserving peace. But as one war ended, a new kind of conflict emerged, the Cold War. The digital age and the future. 1. The information revolution and the rise of computers. As the Cold War drew to a close, another revolution was taking shape. One that would redefine human civilization. The information revolution, fueled by computing power and digital connectivity, would transform how we live, work, and think. In the 1970s and 80s, the dawn of personal computing began. Silicon Valley became the birthplace of the digital world, as pioneers like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and countless engineers worked to make computers accessible to the masses. But it was the internet that truly changed everything. By the 1990s, the world was more connected than ever before. Information was no longer confined to books or libraries. It was now just a click away. The internet revolutionized communication, business, and knowledge itself. But this new digital frontier also raised new questions. How would humanity handle this flood of information? Two, the rise of social media and global connectivity. Then came the next transformation, the rise of social media. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube turned the internet into a global stage. People could share their lives, ideas, and opinions like never before. Social media became a powerful tool, not just for connection, but for change. It helped spark revolutions, amplify voices, and shape political movements. But it also had its consequences. Misinformation spread like wildfire. Privacy concerns grew as tech giants collected vast amounts of user data. And as the world became more connected, it also became more divided. The digital age, for all its promises, brought with it new challenges, ones humanity had never faced before. Three, the environmental crisis and the AI revolution. But technology was not the only force shaping the future. As industry and progress surged forward, so did an unforeseen consequence: climate change. Rising temperatures, extreme weather, and mass extinctions signaled an urgent need for change. Would technology be the key to saving the planet, or had it already done too much damage? At the same time, another force was reshaping the world: artificial intelligence. AI began taking over industries, performing tasks once thought possible only for humans. From medical diagnostics to creative art, machines were learning at an unprecedented rate. But this new power came with uncertainty. Could AI surpass human intelligence? Would it liberate society, or make millions of jobs obsolete? And perhaps the biggest question of all, could AI ever think for itself? L4. The future of humanity. The future remains unwritten. Will humanity harness technology for the greater good, or will it succumb to its own creations? Will we become explorers of the stars, or prisoners of our own digital world? One thing is certain: civilization is on the cusp of its next great transformation. The choices we make today will shape the destiny of generations to come. From the dawn of civilization to the digital age, humanity has always pushed the boundaries of what is possible. The question is, what comes next?